You ever been driving down the freeway and you kind of feel someone's coming up, you catch a glimpse maybe in your mirror, and they come up and then suddenly they just disappear? They're hovering right there in that one spot that you can't see them in your mirrors. That is called a blind spot. Now, in modern technology, we've tried to eliminate those by creating the vehicles that have the 360 degree views around the vehicle, and that's helpful. In fact, that's kind of what we have to try to do in real life as leaders because, let's be honest, we're human and we are very capable of having blind spots. I would even say, most likely, we have them. But we don't have 360 degree view cameras that can help us find what we can't see. We need feedback. We need people to help us. We need folks who can speak the truth to us that we're willing to listen to help us. Well, I'm going to share with you today what I believe are three of the more common blind spots leaders have, at least in my experience of over 40 years of working with leaders on different levels and helping them grow and reach potential, and also just dealing within my own life. So let me share with you three of what I believe are the most common. There may be more. We may revisit this in another video. But for today, we'll talk about three common ones. Here's the first one: overestimating our communication. That simply just means I think, hey, I said it very clearly. Everyone in the room heard me. They may have even nodded and looked like they agreed with me. So everyone understood, right? We've got this covered. Move on. Next topic. That is an overestimation of your communication. So there are studies that would tell us that we need to hear something sometimes 7 to 12 times to really grasp it, understand it, let it resonate, and become embedded in the way we're thinking. If all we get is the one mention in a meeting, and you are assuming that that was sufficient, you have a blind spot in the area of overestimating communication. Communication requires repetition. It just does. It requires checking. Do you understand? Getting feedback from the people we're talking to. And it even involves tailoring our messaging to the audience we're addressing. And that can change within an organization. So my finance department, I may need to speak to them a certain way. My shipping department may be another way. And the same may be true just with the members of my team. A common blind spot is overestimating our communication skills. Now, here's a second one: underestimating our impact in the room. Just because you're the leader, your words, your tone, your body language, these are all things that are going to shape culture and morale, and they're going to have a greater impact than you are probably aware. That's a blind spot. Helping yourself in a meeting was going to require somebody giving you honest feedback about what you are communicating verbally, but also non-verbally. It's important. Your words carry more weight. Your tone and your body language are having a greater impact than you realize. But because it's a blind spot, you're frustrated or confused why certain things are happening the way they're happening. And unless you get that feedback to help expose that blind spot, you won't be able to mitigate that situation. Now, you can't really tell here on video, but I'm 6'5" and I'm about 280, and I have a booming voice and facial hair and all of that. And in my mind, I never thought of those things as being an issue when it came to the impact I was having in a meeting or on other people until someone helped point it out to me. And that was, hey, Bill, sometimes I know you don't mean to be, but you can be intimidating. Your tone, the way you lean in, your presence, you need to be mindful of that. That was helpful information to me because it would have never crossed my mind. And so I had a blind spot and I had to realize, I need to mitigate this. I can take a softer tone. Now that I'm aware, I can mitigate it. But before that, it was just a blind spot. Led to a lot of frustration. Here's the third one. And I see this one a lot, especially with high performers and go-getters and, certain personality types. And that is a complete lack of self-awareness. The blind spot is even understanding why that matters. That's never been given a thought. No self-reflection built in to say, why am I the way I am? Why do I think the way I think? Why do I respond the way I respond? That internal aspect of self-awareness. What are my biases? What triggers me? What are my stress responses? If I know them, then I can at least mitigate them when I'm in a meeting or I'm one-on-one or in a group. But if I haven't taken any time to do that, I'm just going to react. And my reactions are going to affect people and the culture, the morale of the team. There's an external element of self-awareness as well. That's gaining an understanding of how am I perceived. I just told you I'm a big guy. I got a booming voice, but I had to do some self-awareness, some self-reflection. Hey, I get it. If somebody that was taller than me and bigger than me and could be more intense than me, would I be intimidated? Maybe. But I had not given it that thought because it was a blind spot. And I find that self-awareness is a huge blind spot for a lot of leaders, especially if they're doing well, they're top performers, and then they've been asked to become a leader. Now they've got to do things a little differently, and it catches them off guard, and they don't always understand, why am I being blindsided with this complaint or this or that? And it's simply because we have a blind spot. So what do we do with these? Can you identify with any of these three? Have you had to work on those? Well, the key for all of us as leaders is to help expose blind spots requires feedback from people we trust. And sometimes that means we have to ask them and we have to give them permission. Sometimes the simple question is, hey, how am I communicating? Am I getting the message across? Am I saying it in a way that the people in the room are going to get it? Am I saying it enough? Are we revisiting this and reinforcing this? And tell me, how am I doing in the area of communication? Getting feedback. Hey, what's my body language like? What's my nonverbal things communicating? Am I overestimating my communication or am I underestimating my impact? Asking questions and listening. Hey, how's my self-awareness? Do I need to do more self-reflection and inviting that input? If we can do that, we can begin to expose blind spots and we can begin to mitigate those blind spots when we're in our meetings one-on-one or in our group meetings or communicating to a large group of people. We need to have people in our lives who can help us find our blind spots. Otherwise, we're going to find ourselves in unnecessary collisions, possible damage, or even being blindsided continually.